Understanding grammatical mood and its types. Today on Grammar with Altaf, we're learning grammatical mood and its main types.
We'll cover indicative, imperative, interrogative, conditional, and subjunctive, what they mean, how to spot them, and how to use them.
First, what is mood in grammar? Mood shows the speaker's attitude toward what they're saying. Are we stating facts, giving orders, asking questions, imagining results, or talking about wishes and unreal situations? Mood answers that. It's different from tense, time, and voice. Active or passive. Mood is about intention.
English signals mood mostly through verb forms and helper verbs like do, be, have, and the modals can, could, will, would, may, might, shall, should, must. The same idea can shift mood by small changes. You finish now, imperative. You are finishing now, indicative. Would you finish now? Interrogative, polite request. If you finished now, we would leave. Conditional. I suggest he finish now. Subjunctive.
Let's start with the indicative mood. Use it for facts, opinions, descriptions, and beliefs about reality. Examples. The sun rises in the east. Sarah feels tired. They have completed the project. We can still be wrong, but the point is that the speaker treats the statement as real. You'll see all tenses in the indicative: present, past, future, perfect forms, progressives, and passives.
Negative and question forms can still be indicative when they present information about reality. She doesn't like coffee. Do you live here? However, many teachers prefer to treat questions as interrogative, which we'll cover soon. For now, remember, if the sentence reports or denies a fact, it's probably indicative.
Next is the imperative mood. We use the base form of the verb to give commands, instructions, invitations, or encouragement. Close the door. Please take a seat. Enjoy your meal. The subject you is understood but not spoken. You listen carefully. Imperatives can be strong or gentle. Please and softeners like just or let's can adjust the tone.
Negative imperatives use don't, plus the base verb, don't forget your keys, don't be late. For suggestions that include the speaker, we often use let's start, let's not argue. To sound more polite, we can phrase a command as a question. Could you open the window? Which feels interrogative on the surface, but still functions like an imperative in meaning.
Now the interrogative mood. We use it to ask questions and seek information. English forms questions with inversion and auxiliaries. Do you like mangoes? Are they coming? Will she call? These questions begin with a question word. Who? What? When? Where? Why? How? Rising intonation helps signal a yes/no question. Some grammars call interrogative a sentence type more than a mood, but it's helpful for learners to think of it as the mood of asking.
A quick tip: when forming interrogatives, make sure the auxiliary matches the tense and subject. Present simple uses do, does, past simple uses did. With be and modals, you invert the helper. Is he ready? Can they swim? Tag questions. You're ready, aren't you? Are also interrogative and check information or invite agreement.
Onto the conditional mood, used for results that depend on conditions. We often see if clauses and modals like would, could, and might. Zero conditional states general truths. If water reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. First conditional talks about real future possibilities. If it rains, we will stay in. Second conditional imagines a present unreal situation. If I had a car, I would drive to work. Third conditional explores unreal pasts. If I had studied, I would have passed.
Two common points. First, avoid would in the if clause in standard forms. Say, if I were rich, I would travel, not if I would be rich. Second, you can mix conditionals for nuance. If I had woken up earlier, I would be on time now. That one links an unreal past to a different present result. The mood across these is conditional because meaning hinges on conditions, probability, and imagination.
Finally, the subjunctive mood. It expresses wishes, demands, suggestions, and situations contrary to fact. In English, the present subjunctive uses the base verb after certain verbs and adjectives. I suggest that he go. They insisted that she be informed. It's essential that everyone arrive on time. Notice go, be, and arrive stay in base form regardless of subject.
For unreal or hypothetical statements, especially with to be, we often use were for all persons. If I were you, I wish it were easier. She acts as if she were the boss. That were signals the subjunctive. You'll also hear fixed expressions. God save the king. So be it. Long live the champions. These are classic subjunctives that survive in set phrases.
Let's compare quickly. Indicative states reality. He is here. Imperative directs action. Be here. Interrogative asks, are you here? Conditional hinges on an if. If you are here, we can start. Subjunctive shows desire or necessity. It's vital that he be here. Or an unreal wish. I wish he were here. Each mood changes attitude without changing the core idea.
Common mistakes include using was instead of were for unreal situations, forgetting the base form after suggest, insist, recommend, require, and placing would inside if clauses. Also, students sometimes confuse interrogative form with politeness. A question can be soft, but it's still interrogative. An imperative can be polite, yet still imperative.
Mini check. Identify the mood. Close your laptop. That's imperative. Do you close your laptop at night? That's interrogative. If you close your laptop, the battery lasts longer. That's conditional. I recommend that she close her laptop when charging. That's subjunctive. She closes her laptop every night. That's indicative.
Let's try quick transformations. Statement. They arrive early. Make it interrogative. Do they arrive early? Make it imperative. Arrive early. Make it conditional. First. If they arrive early, we will start. Make it subjunctive with recommendation. It's important that they arrive early. See how the verb form and helpers shift the mood and meaning.
How do we choose the right mood in writing? Think about purpose. If you want to inform, use indicative. If you want action, use imperative or a polite interrogative that functions like a request. If you're exploring possibilities or giving advice about unreal situations, use conditional. If you're expressing necessity, urgency, or a wish that does not match reality, use the subjunctive.
Listening for cues helps. Words like suggest, recommend, demand, essential, vital often trigger the subjunctive pattern. If you hear if and would, think conditional, but check placement. If you hear please plus base verb, think imperative. If you hear auxiliary before subject or what words, think interrogative. Anchoring your ear to these signals builds accuracy.
Style tip: tone matters. Imperatives can sound harsh if overused. Add softeners. Please, kindly, or a reason. Please submit your form by noon to meet the deadline. Interrogatives can make polite requests. Could you submit your form by noon? The choice of mood shapes how your message feels to listeners.
Practice idea. Take one neutral idea, like hand in the assignment, and express it in every mood. Indicative. You hand in the assignment on Friday. Imperative. Hand in the assignment on Friday. Interrogative. Will you hand in the assignment on Friday? Conditional. If you hand in the assignment on Friday, you will get feedback sooner. Subjunctive. It's essential that you hand in the assignment on Friday. 5 moods, 1 message, different attitudes.
Before we wrap up, a quick spotlight on real-world contexts. Customer service uses interrogatives and polite imperatives. Science reports rely on the indicative to present findings. Policies and manuals lean on imperatives and subjunctives of necessity. It is required that employees wear badges. Creative writing plays with conditional and subjunctive to imagine alternate worlds.
All right, let's summarize together. We defined grammatical mood as the speaker's attitude shown through verb forms and helpers. We explored 5 key moods in English learning: indicative for statements of reality, imperative for commands and instructions, interrogative for questions, conditional for results that depend on conditions, and subjunctive for wishes, demands, recommendations, and unreal situations. We practice spotting signals and converting one idea across moods.
So, what have we learned in this video? We learned what grammatical mood is, how it differs from tense and voice, how to recognize the forms and cues of indicative, imperative, interrogative, conditional, and subjunctive, and how to choose the right mood for purpose and tone. With these tools, your sentences will carry the exact attitude you intend.
And we've learned to test ourselves by transforming the same idea across moods, watching how auxiliaries and base forms change meaning. Keep listening for triggers like if, would, suggest, and question patterns. With practice, grammatical mood becomes a powerful switchboard for clarity, politeness, and precision.